Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to She Boss Talk. I am Shantae R. Roddy. I am coming on today to talk about 7 tips for PPP forgiveness to make it easy and to make it where you are audit ready. So this is for all you entrepreneurs and small business owners who have applied for the PPP have spent your money and you're getting ready or you're ready to apply for forgiveness. You definitely want to tune into this video and definitely stay tuned to the end because it's always good. Again, I'm going to go through these tips. I'm welcoming all of you all on here as you come in. I want to make sure you all don't miss this information. As you're coming in, as always, just let me know who you are, where you're hailing from, what your business is. Let me know, did you get both first draw and second draw PPP? Let me know as well. Do give this a thumbs up, hit that love button wherever you're viewing from. Show us some love so more people can see this video that need to see it. Do share out this video on our channel too, because again, the more people we can reach, the more businesses we can save, the more businesses that we can help be able to achieve their goals. Okay. If you have any questions related to PPP, as always, drop them in the comments. I'll try to answer them while I'm live on the air. If not, I always follow up after the show to engage and answer any questions that you have. Just a reminder that any and all resources that you need for your business can be found in our show notes, in our description, and then after the live, I do pin it to the top of the comments. If you do need consults, we are still offering consults if you need that one-on-one assistance. Otherwise, we have an entire playlist on our YouTube channel dedicated to the Paycheck Protection Program. Okay, to be able to help you be able to get forgiveness. And why do you want to get forgiveness? Because you don't want to have to pay the loan back and you want it to be free money. So that's what we've been talking about all the way through the pandemic, is how do we get more free money for our business? This is one of the ways, one of the most popular programs. Almost $1 trillion went out from the Paycheck Protection Program. And this is your opportunity to turn the loan into a grant. And so we want you to make sure that you do it with ease. Now, I actually had just gotten off the phone with a lady who is having some challenges. So I told her, if you're viewing, do drop a comment. I told her to tune in to this video as I was getting ready to go live. Definitely want to make sure that I support you all in any manner that I can. So let's get right to it. Okay, so again, I'm going to be talking about 7 tips for PPP forgiveness, making it easy and making it audit ready, okay? Because at any time, just for your own personal sake, you need to keep records. And also in the event anyone comes asking you about your PPP loan, anything related to it, you need to be able to have that, and that is considered an audit trail. So number 1, what's important is that you review your owner's compensation. So regardless if you don't have employees and you applied, or you have employees and you apply, there is a part in there where you carved out your owner's compensation. So you want to make sure that if you did that, that you are meeting the caps. Now, the caps are different depending on the cover period. I'll talk about cover periods in just a second. But for all of you all, again, that hopefully you can't claim the owner compensation in your PPP loan amount. So if you opt for the 8-week covered period, because you don't have to wait the 24 weeks, you have a cover period to spend your funds from 8 to 24 weeks. Okay, you don't have to go to full 24. It could be 11 weeks that you're spending your money. So for 8 weeks, the cap is $15,835. And for 24 weeks, the full 24 weeks, the cap is $20,833. That is for your owner's compensation, or owner's salary replacement is another term for it. So it doesn't matter how much you made for your own payroll. It was all capped. So that brings me to the payroll amount. So the payrolls are capped at $100,000. So let's say, for instance, your employees, you have employees that made 150, or you yourself made 150. Those calculations were capped based on a capped amount of 100,000. You could do no more. If you did, you just know that would not be forgiven. It's capped. All salaries are capped at 100,000. So you want to just pay attention, review that you have those calculations correct. and that you meet the eligibility requirements for forgiveness. So as a reminder, you must spend 60% of your funds on payroll related costs, right? So salary, insurance, health insurance, dental insurance, and the like that you pay out is also included in that amount. And then your non-payroll related costs would be the other 40% that you would spend on business related expenses. So I have more videos on that, on the different types of expenses, what types are eligible, but you want to make sure you do that before you even think about applying, before you even reach out to your lender to start that application process. This will help you to just start organizing your information. Make sure you have everything ready. Okay. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. Also, before I forget, related to payroll, you also want to look at any exclusions, because we know at the height of the pandemic, just about all, unless you were just about all of the businesses that were forced to close, right? Unless you were essential, unless you were considered essential. And some maybe due to government reasons or other reasons, you were not able to maintain full capacity, meaning your employees full time. You may have had to reduce. So I talked about before that there are some exclusions, but if you were funded over 150,000, what that means is when you're looking at your payroll, you had to maintain certain levels of staff in order to qualify for forgiveness. Okay, for full forgiveness. So I'll circle back on that in just a second. So again, that's 1 and 2. So again, review your owner's compensation. Make sure it's aligned with the caps before you apply. Review your payroll and other eligible expenses to make sure that you have actually used the funds on what they were intended to be used for, and that they were used. Okay. So number 3, you want to ask the bank if they are ready to receive your application. So many people have asked me, how do you apply? You want to go through your lender, see if they're ready, because not all lenders are ready. As I said, that one of my lenders, which is my bank, who I bank with, they have already notified me that the applications are open and available for those that are applying or got their loans in 2021. So your lender may or may not be ready. They may or may not be working on certain phases or waves in the application process. Like maybe they're still focusing on 2020 and you applied in 2021. You just want to know. So get an idea of when they're going to start the process. Make sure you know where to go apply, where their portal is. Most lenders should have some dedicated page with information about forgiveness. So even if they have not opened up their portal, they will let you know either they're in process, what they're working on, they're updating their systems, updating per the guidelines. They may wind up doing that again as the SBA continues to streamline the process, especially for those that were funded over $150,000 in PPP money, because they want to make it less burdensome for the small business owner and the bank, because it can be a burdensome process. As of today, just want to let you know that 4 million PPP loans have been forgiven for the total of $394 billion. So that's a little less than 50% of all the PPP's loans that have been funded. So that what does that tell us? That tells us that there's still millions of businesses that have not gotten their loans forgiven. Okay. And so this is applicable to any of you, whether you applied in 2020 or you applied in 21, or if you're still in process with the SBA as we speak, as that deadline for in-process applications was moved to July 31st. Okay, so I hope that that's clear. Again, ask your bank, reach out to your bank or your lender and see if they are ready to receive applications. Okay, and number 1, 2, 3, 4. So make sure that you're done with your cover period. So I mentioned the cover periods before. It was changed from 8 weeks to allow 8 to 24 weeks for your cover period. That is the amount of time, the time that once you get funded, that money is in your bank account. So you need track that ticker, the calendar date of when you use the funds, meaning you got the funds, you disperse the funds, you use the funds, right? On whatever you use them for, payroll or some other type of expense that was eligible, that you did it within the 8 to 24 weeks. So you have to know what period you're using. You do not have to wait the full 24 weeks. Maybe you spent your money, you used it in 9 weeks or 10 weeks, 11 weeks or 12 weeks. You just need to know what the cover period was and have used your money. Okay. So again, don't go apply. If you have not used your funds, don't even think about submitting an application, because that can cause yours to get denied or reduced in the amount that you can get forgiven. So again, those cover periods are very important. Don't overlook that. Your money is not there to just to be held on to as like a savings. You are supposed to be spending it so that it can help you get to the point where your business needs to be prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay. So if you have any questions on that, let me know as well. Then next, you want to identify which application applies to you. So right now, like I said, the SBA may be streamlining these applications further, but right now there are 3 different applications. 3508S, that's for really probably most of you all that are viewing right now, where we're funded $150,000 or less. You will be using the 3508S form. That is the most streamlined form. It's a 1-page document. And again, for those that were funded $150,000 or less, the next one is the EZ form. And that form and the next one, that's where you have additional calculations regarding your employees that you do not have with the simplified 3508S application. And then the 3508 is the next one. That's the I believe between the EZ and the 3508 are ones that may be further streamlined down the road by the SBA. Once I hear and they made it official, I would definitely come back on and make an announcement. But they want to make sure that you're not reducing your staff below levels that you're intended to maintain, unless it's due to no fault of your own. Like if they quit, but you need to be monitoring that, right? You should be tracking that, who quit versus you just letting people go. Who did you lose due to the government mandate when you had to close and your employees didn't come back? So they have, changed some of the requirements to accommodate those types of situations. Those are called exclusions. Okay, so then next, so once you identify your form, a good thing to do is to draft your application. So you can actually find, and you may even find it on your lender portal, you may not, but you can also go to the SBA, which is sba.gov. You can go to their website. You can simply Google PPP Forgiveness, and it will pull up the forms on their PPP Forgiveness pages, along with other additional information. But you can take the form, again, figure out which form applies to you, and then just go through it, use it to populate your answers so that when the portal does open, when your lender opens that application portal for you, again, you're not struggling, trying to figure out what to do. You're already ready. Okay, so most lenders will have an online portal that will mirror the forms that are on the SBA website. Okay, they're just making it a easier process that making it where it's online. There's nothing that you have to email or anything like that. So I do apologize. My phone is ringing, so hopefully it'll stop. Okay. I have so many people calling me. I do apologize for that. They email me, call me, inbox me, all over the place. Okay. So again, you want to make sure that, again, you draft it. That may make it for an easier process once you have the correct form. Like I said, for those that are under 150,000, it should be a super simple process for you to be able to get through. Just to make sure you look at the form. One thing to note for those of you all that are under 150,000, that you were not necessarily required by the SBA. You might have been required by the lender to provide documentation for second draw that demonstrates that you had a 25% loss, right? So that's something you had to demonstrate that for the second draw, but you did not have to necessarily provide upfront documentation. You will have to do that on the back end. So if you didn't do it on the front end, just make sure when you're going through making sure you're getting your information organized, that you're preparing that documentation to show during an 8-week period of time in 2020, you had a loss compared to that same period in 2019. So it's similar to the same process you have to go through for the eidl grant. Okay. Then the next, you want to save all of your documentation. I can't say this enough. I'm just a document person. You document, save all of your information, your correspondences, everything into a file. I use Google Drive. You may use OneDrive or Dropbox or some other cloud drive that where your information will be safe, and it will be easy to retrieve if you need to access it or someone else comes asking for it, like the SBA, the OIG, or the IRS, or some other government entity may ask you for that information. You just need to make sure you have an audit file. Or even if something happens during the forgiveness process where they say, okay, well, for this reason, you qualify forgiveness, but not full forgiveness. And then you need to go back, be able to go back to your documentation and say, wait a minute, that's not correct. That these types of things happen, errors happen all the time on both sides. That's why it's important to have your documentation. I can't tell you how many times, not during this pandemic, that my documentation saved me, but just throughout my entire life. So I'm a real advocate for documenting everything and saving that so you can easily be able to access it and you're not struggling through that process. Okay. So again, that's the final thing. So that's number 7. So let me just recap, and then I'll go see if there's any questions that you may have. So again, review your owner's compensation. Make sure that you are in line with the caps that for your owner's compensation, or what is called salary replacement. This is for 1099 workers, independent contractors, gig workers, and small business owners. You all could get your owner's compensation. That's what I was able to do. If you have employees W-2, then your payroll, you want to look at those caps as well. The cap at $100,000 per employee, making sure that you check the eligible expenses, what you're spending on those, have those records and documents ready. You should be able to easily be able to access those through your payroll system. And we know some people are not using payroll systems adequately. So you need to get on the forefront of that, have some tool that you're using to adequately check that. Asking your bank. So follow up with your bank or your lending institution. Some of you all aren't with your where you bank. So there's a lot of brokers out here, Womply, Blue Acorn, Small Biz Loans, and some others that were really brokers for lenders to lend you the money. I've seen or noticed that a lot of you all that applied through those brokers are having more challenges because they're just non-responsive. You're not hearing anything from them at all. But most of these companies do, again, have a page, something that it talks about forgiveness, gives you that information. What I would say is, if you can't get a hold of anybody, Google it, right? So Womply, PPP Forgiveness, and see what pulls up. And most likely their portal or the page that identifies what their process is going to be there. I know I searched a few of them and they were there, but I can't tell you about how responsive they're going to be through the process. But they should be sending you out emails. Again, make sure you're monitoring your inbox and also your spam folder so you don't miss out on that correspondence. Make sure that you know what cover period you're using before you apply. So if it's an 8-week cover period, you definitely don't want to apply at 6 weeks and you haven't spent the money. You don't want to apply at 6 weeks period. You want to apply after 8 weeks. Okay. So just pay attention to those cover periods and when you're spending the money, and make sure that money has been spent before you even consider applying. Again, identify which application form is the best form for you and your situation. And again, you can find those forms on the SBA website if you cannot find them on your lender site. They're always there. Draft your application, go through the application form. So before they're even up, you can already know what they're expecting for you to provide and already have it. Already have your answers set and ready. Save all your documentation, again, not only for yourself, but in case there's an audit, somebody comes asking about your PPP loan and the information that you have provided, it is there. And it's not a problem for you to be able to provide it. So that is the tips I have for you all. Again, just let me know if you've applied for PPP. If you've applied for forgiveness, I know some of my peers have already mentioned to me that they have gotten forgiveness. So yes, people are getting their loans forgiven, 100% forgiven, but everybody's situation is different. So sometimes we have people that say, oh, well, so-and-so got hers forgiven. Why didn't I get my forgiven? You know, you're not comparing apples to apples. Everybody's situation is different. What they're telling you may or may not be true. So focus on your own application and making sure you have everything that you need that's within your control to be able to do. So I see your comments out there. Just give a shout out to all of you that are out there. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, we have Anissa. She did her first and second loan. Have you applied for forgiveness yet? I know I for one company, I received two. I received first draw and second draw. In the other company, I received first draw. By the time I tried to get to the second draw, it was too late. Okay, so they had already closed the program. Okay, and so again, this is if this is for anybody that applied for the Paycheck Protection Program. You want to make sure also that you don't forget, right? So I did a program, a live not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, about the deadline that's approaching for many 2020 applicants, where the 10-month timeline. Once that expires, then that means your loan payments will become due. That means they will issue you a notice saying your first month's payment on that loan is due. You want to try to avoid it getting to that and applying before you even get that notice, right? And so some of you all have quite a bit more time left, especially if you applied in 2021. But that's why paying attention to these timelines are so important. Because I've heard so many people say even they miss grant opportunities because they just forgot, right? We as business people, we have smartphones, make them smart, right? We have Google calendars, all these types of things populated there so you can keep track and you don't forget to apply for forgiveness because it is not automatic. Some people have told you it's automatic. It is not. You have to actually apply for forgiveness and then get approved. And you're pre-approved from your lender, and then the SBA, it has the final approval. And then each of those steps, you want to make sure that you keep a record of, just in case something comes back and say, "Oh, you know, you didn't qualify for forgiveness." So just make sure that you're keeping your records. What if the loan amount was less than $5,000? Same applies. Anything under $150,000. I mean, unless you have a specific question, the process is the same. Anything it could have been $1,000. The process is the same for everybody who received a loan of $150,000 or less. It's super simple. One-page application. Again, the only difference is if it's second draw, you had that 25% reduction in your gross sales that you had to report, either at the beginning or at the end, or when you apply for forgiveness. And your lender will know that. They will know what information you provided. There should be questions on the application that address that, and you can find that on the application form itself. Which form is better if you use 100% payroll? A company is less than 150. Oh, I said that. So you're going to the 3508S. Okay. So I think those are all the questions. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Thank you to all of our subscribers. We really appreciate you. If you find this content of value, do go ahead and subscribe. Hit that notification button if you want to be notified anytime that I go live. We do try to provide regular, almost daily updates because there's always something new happening that you need to know, information, resources, tools that come out to make sure that you can take action in your own business to get a financial lifeline, right? There are still many programs going on, still many programs going to be rolled out, millions trying to get through some of the challenges that are out there. So that's why we try to stay on the forefront and be advocates and educators and a connector to this information. So do share this out with other entrepreneurs and small business owners you know, because not everybody have access to this information. Not everybody is sharing the information as freely as we do. So we just want to make sure that we get everybody connected and do the outreach so every business can get the help that they need. We so appreciate you. Again, thank you so much. Continue to be the boss with Amplified Impact. Continue to stay safe and in good health. You all have a wonderful day.